how's that? Look how close I am today. Board upgrade. Hager board. RCBOs. Doorbell transformer. Surge protective device. Fire suppression device. Modular blanks. All the usual setup. Unfortunately, it's in a tiny little Harry Potter cupboard. This is a really small one. I've always done this. I've done dash 1, 2 dashes, 2, 3, 4, but when I get to 5, I do a line. Just so you don't end up with a million dots, you know, if you've got a bigger board, 18 dots or whatever. And so 5 is a line, 6 is line dot, 7 line dot dot, 8 line dot dot dot. And so when I get to 10, it's 2 lines. Simple really, but some people still do 20 dots. One of the first things I noticed when I took the board cover off was that neutral link between the 2 bars. That doesn't look like the manufacturer's link. I noticed that. I reckon it used to be a split load, and then someone's just put one RCD now that covers the whole installation. Those tails, I'm gonna have to renew them. It's too tight to pull across, and the entry in the top, I couldn't quite do rear entry because of the height of the slope of this cupboard. I had to go top and it wouldn't reach across. It's quite a long board. So really what I wanted was 800-ish. So I was in line with this brick line here. I measured that off the finished floor here. And I measured that off the finished floor in there, and where inside, I wanted to be inside the board, preferably right above the main switch, like somewhere about there. So I want it to come out. So that's 800, which is about on the edge of this brick, which is the same as this edge here. $800 was there. So I drilled, that's 800, and I did a bit of an angle on that brick line. See that brick line? Just there, you can just see it. And bing, pat! Exactly where I wanted to go. That was my first attempt. That was my straight. I knew it didn't matter because this is going to be behind the board. So I did a straight line, straight in first to see where I was. And so then I did angle up and angle to the right, and then bang. That'll be perfect. I'll drill a 32mm hole now there, and hopefully my 25mm, my tails now, my new ones will go straight into the main switch. So, board set up. Whisker tails gland. Whisker fire membrane grommets. Hopefully it'll just sweep nicely into the main switch there. All my final circuits in the top. It's the best I could do with the space and the slack that I've got. Right, I ended up swapping that whisker tails gland. It was too much hard work trying to get the tails through that against the wall there. So I've just put a regular 32mm whisker fire membrane grommet. I've bunched all the circuits on purpose, so the tails coming through neutral, obviously the right, level, left. First 3 circuits, next 3 circuits, final 3 circuits, and then the bonding of the transformer, doorbell transformer. They're all chopped off. I need to give them a yank the other side. So now I'm going to just sleeve them through the top, tails in the back there, terminate all, and then just all the CPCs first, load up all the RCPOs, all the lives, and then all neutrals, retest. And then 2 of those nest things, then certification. Oh. Right, let's crack on. Come on, Lawrence, come on. Now I probably made that look a lot harder than it was, but that was really tricky to wiggle on because you're dealing with 2 different angles, rear entry and top entry at the same time. As you go back, it gets tighter and tighter. So, but I probably made it look harder than it actually was. But well, that was a pain. I pretty much had to extend every single CPC, which is annoying. There was not enough slack to get over here. It was all down this right hand side. It always takes time, all that. It's so laborious having to individually Wago every single one. Which I love those inline Wagos. They are amazing. Those when they brought out the those ones, the lever, the 221s. Oh, dreamy stuff that. Rather than having the 2 in one end and having to sweep round. So, right, all the CPCs are in. I've spaced them for thermal derating. Some manufacturers have better thermal derating than others. But yeah, I'll find the link somewhere and I'll post it again. Where possible, I try and space them out due to this because it decreases what they can pull, you know. For example, you might have a 32 amp RCBO or whatever, but due to heat, if it was side by side with a couple of other high loaded circuits, or even just the heat anyway, it might only be able to pull 30 before it operates, you know. So there is, I mean, I'm spitballing off the top of my head, but there are actual figures, and each manufacturer have got their own set of the thermal derating that you can apply to their RCBOs. So yeah, it's just important to remember. One thing to just bear in mind when you're doing stuff. Right, fully loaded up. Here you go, doorbell transformer, modular blanks for thermal derating. Just get the fly leads in, run down with all the lines and neutrals. Just having a brew. Client was a legend and actually went and filled a flask of tea as the power's off. It won't be off for much longer, to be honest. But I've been here about 2 hours now. And I've got, obviously, the old board you see me chuck away, renewed the tails, and got, even with all the faffing of filming and all that rubbish, a couple of hours, and now probably a couple more, and I'll be done. And then all the behind the scenes stuff, all the certification, all that stuff, type all that up. Because obviously I'll write it on the cardboard that the board came in. Leave that on my desk for a few weeks before I get round to doing the certificate. You know how it is. Yeah. Right, that's completely wired. I've done the best I can with the slack available to me. I have never and never will extend cables for the sake of it, just to make it look pretty. To me, that makes no sense. You're increasing the resistance. You're putting in a joint for the sake of a joint, which only, like I said, increases resistance. Another place where something can get loose. I've put these, they're only like Hellman ones, like push-on ones that I've had for years. Generally don't use them on domestic, but as that circuit was a ring and one unfused spur, I thought I'd identify them so that the next spark, it might even be me, but at least the next spark knows that that's the ring there. So when they test the ring, they know that there's an unfused spur, which is, if it was something like a garage supply or something, I would probably put it on its own RCBO, but for the cost of it, for just a fused connection unit, it might as well just stay as a spur off the ring. Done. I've just got to label up, quickly go around with my torque screwdriver, label up the main and the gas and the water protected bonds, do the outside, the isolator, and then do my RCD testing. Just gonna put some fire sealant in there. So that's the first time in a little while that I've not had to cut any seals. So I just did the sockets, and the moment I flicked it on, I could hear, because there's a load connected, and there's a few loads. I think that does a downstairs ring, so there was like the fridge and stuff. I could hear it kick in, and the compressor and stuff. And so my initial first RCD result was really high, which is still compliant. I think it was 100 and something, but I know from experience it's just a load that's kicked in. So the moment I reset it and did it again, the result was lower because it had done the kicking in, and so the load didn't do the initial startup like it did the first time. So if you do it again, the result then was 9 point something. But it's all to do with the load. When there's loads connected, it can wildly affect your results. I could go and unplug it, but I knew that if I turned it off and then on again, most of the time, not all the time, most of the time then the load has done its cycle, and then when you go and do it again, it's all right. This is where I put a link to say, I up, click here to watch. I just started my RCD testing and I got to the first ring circuit and it banged out. And I'm sure some of you have done it as well when you're doing a board upgrade. I was extending a load of neutrals, extending a load of CPCs, and I put the wrong neutral for the ring. One of the rings has got one unfused spur off of it, so that's got 3 cables in it, 3 lines, 3 neutrals. And I put the wrong neutral in the wrong RCBO just with the next circuit. As I went to turn it on to do the functional test, it just banged straight out. I thought, oh, that's weird. It was on RC before. I mean, sometimes it can be load. If you've got a high load thing on initial startup, it can operate. Moved to the next one, flicked it on, went back and flicked on the previous one, and they both tripped out because I just had a feeling it was probably something I'd done in this dark Harry Potter cupboard. I'm making excuses, but we all make mistakes. I'm only human, and I just put it in the wrong one. So quick whip out, swap over, job's good. Fire suppression device, as standard. A couple of M4 plastic nuts and bolts. I've done cable flags on this one because I've run out of heat shrink, so I have to get some more ordered. That's a long one. You can use the app or you can do it on the actual printer. Patch panel setting, go to advanced, 36.6 are the main switches. Obviously I have a doorbell transformer at the end, and then 18.3 all along here.